Chapter 538 Yuhao vs Tang Wutong. Shiashi's Nina Phoenix worshipping flute might only have 7 soul rings, but they were all 10,000-year soul rings, except for the one yellow 100-year soul ring, which she had added back during the freshman competition to help Yuhao and Wang Donga. The reason why she used her Nina Phoenix worshipping flute instead of her 3 live soul crush cauldron was that everyone was familiar with her flute. At the same time, her flute granted her immense controlling power. Even Yuhao's spirit eyes were not a pure control type martial soul, but Shiashi's Nina Phoenix worshipping flute was. Back then, when Elderson was mentoring her, he once told her how the simplest method to become a truly powerful soul master was to become the best at a certain field. Regardless of what field it was, as long as one was able to become the best in that area, he or she would possess immense power. Apparently, Shiashi had subscribed to that belief and had persisted with her decision, and reality showed that she had succeeded. By using the powerful controlling ability of her Nina Phoenix worshipping flute, she was actually able to restrain Jiju again. The green phoenix in the sky tucked its wings in, and Shiashi reappeared in midair, following which, a huge black cauldron appeared. When this cauldron appeared, the number of soul rings on Shiashi's body increased from 7 to 8. That's right. Shiashi had already attained the rank of a soul Douluo. Her primary martial soul already had 8 soul rings. She was now a powerful 8-ring soul Douluo with the 3 live soul crush cauldron. As the 5th soul ring on Shiashi's body lit up, the 3 live soul crush cauldron expanded furiously against the wind. The matte black cauldron seemed to embody immense authority as the surrounding air became increasingly dense and heavy. The cauldron seemed to have transformed into a humongous mountain as the people from the Tang Sect felt the immense pressure radiating from it. The cauldron floated over Jijuiken as it started to release a humming sound. It released countless humongous runes which started to circle around it. At this instant, Jijuiken, who was stuck within the formation formed by the phoenix pillars, seemed to have become frozen as he quietly stood where he was. However, his whole body had transformed into a greyish black color. Even though the sound waves from the phoenix pillars continued to attack him, they were unable to penetrate his defense. At this instant, Shiashi felt an inexplicable sense of danger. Even though she seemed to have the upper hand over Jijuiken, she did not feel as though she had an advantage over him. Instead, she felt very uncomfortable, as though something ominous was about to happen. Shiashi released a low growl as she pointed in the direction of the cauldron with her right hand. At that instant, the 3 live soul crush cauldron released a loud and powerful humming sound as it dropped from the sky toward Jijuiken. A powerful black light was also ejected from the mouth of the cauldron. Endless authority descended from the heavens as the black pillar of light struck Jijuiken ahead of the cauldron. This was the 5th soul skill of Shiashi's 3 live soul crush cauldron. 3 live soul crush. It was a powerful sealing soul skill which acted directly on the body and the soul. Previously, with the help of the 3 live soul crush, Shiashi was actually able to seal a powerful evil soul master and contribute to the team's success. However, the person she was facing now was Jijuiken, the sword fanatic. Jijuiken. A bright cry escaped Jijuiken's mouth, following which, a matte black sword light erupted from the ground like black ink. Both the 3 live soul crush and the sword light from Jijuiken were black. The 2 black forces collided with a humongous impact. Jijuiken's figure rose up into the sky like a dragon ascending to the heavens. However, the 3 live soul crush cauldron had vanished in that instant. That's right, it had somehow vanished. The cauldron which was falling rapidly had disappeared without any warning. However, if one were to pay attention to Shiashi, one would notice the sly smile that had formed on her face. A humongous cauldron sneakily appeared below Jijuiken's feet. The same black pillar enveloped and trapped Jijuiken after he had exploded up into the sky with his maximum effort. Jijuiken was caught in that moment when he had just exerted strength on a previous soul skill and was recovering his energy for the next blow. Hence, his body froze upon contact with the 3 live soul crush as he was sealed in midair. A small thing that resembled a lizard rested itself silently on Shiashi's shoulder. This thing seemed to be a little strange, as it looked different from a normal lizard. However, because it was hidden within a ball of dark light, no one could see its true appearance. Nonetheless, it was its existence that allowed the 3 live soul crush technique to suddenly change positions. This allowed Shiashi to trick Jijuiken into exposing himself to her attacks. After the 3 live soul crush was completed, the matte black cauldron suddenly expanded before releasing a powerful suction force. Jijuiken was sucked into the cauldron. The 8th ring on Shiashi's body lit up, and 9 humongous golden runes fell from the sky onto the cauldron. Instantly, the black cauldron was dyed a uniform golden color as it dropped to the ground. The phoenix pillars disappeared, leaving only the cauldron sparkling on the ground. The 10 golden runes on the cauldron glowed intensely in an intermittent fashion, as though they were trying to resist powerful blows from within. Shiashi floated back to the ground as she looked at the commotion before her with surprise. Even though she might have beaten Jijuiken, she knew that she had not won by ability. She was only able to defeat him because of her tactics. Jijuiken was simply too unfamiliar with her abilities. Conversely, Shiashi had watched so many of his spars with the others. Hence, she possessed a superior understanding of his abilities. Jijuiken's final attack, his sword fanatic domain, was undoubtedly his greatest skill. Shiashi's prior control was simply her way of waiting for that moment to come. When Jijuiken launched his most powerful attack, it was also the time when he was most vulnerable to any form of attack. If he were to fail to land a blow in a single attempt, his aura and sword intent would drastically decrease. Shiashi had been waiting for this opportunity all along. Of course, she understood that Jijuiken could have directed his final attack at her instead of her 3 live soul crush cauldron. Even though he would most definitely get hurt, she would also not be able to escape unscathed. The truth was that even though Jijuiken was a sword fanatic, he would still not put his own people in danger. Shiashi raised her right hand as the 3 live soul crush cauldron transformed into a streak of light before returning to her body. A deafening sword aura flickered as Jijuiken reappeared within the spectral demiplane. He looked slightly ragged after reappearing. There were many holes in his clothes, and his face seemed to be slightly pale. However, the spark in his eyes showed that he was actually very excited. The scariest thing about the sword fanatic was how he was not afraid of losing. In fact, the more he lost, the more excited he would become. That was why everyone had a headache when facing him. The more they tried to put him down, the more he wanted to fight them. I have lost. That was very impressive. Jijuiken nodded as he looked at Shiashi. Shiashi shook her head and said, "No, I definitely can't compare to you when it comes to our true abilities. You only lost because you did not understand my skills well enough. Also, you chose to go easy on me instead of putting me in harm's way. When we fight the next time, I will definitely lose to you. I can sense that you haven't even released your full fighting power." Jijuiken shook his head and said, "It's still a loss at the end of the day. I can sense that you did not go all out on me either. It would be very difficult to say who would win if we were to fight to the death, but that would only result in serious injuries for both of us." Jijuiken's words were usually very objective. Hence, his praise had elevated Shiashi to a new status. It meant a lot about Shiashi's ability when she was able to hold her own against the sword fanatic. He gaped as he stared at Shiashi. "Shiashi, I can't believe how strong you've become. If we were to battle within a fixed physical range, I might not even be able to beat you." Shiashi waved her little fist at Hikaiju and said, "So you better watch out. If you dare bully me in the future, I'll make sure I put you down." Hikaiju gave her an awkward smile and said, "You're the one who's bullying me every day now. When have I ever bullied you? Look, you even bit me yesterday." Following which, he revealed a mark on his shoulder. Shiashi's face became red as she turned and fled. The people who were listening to their conversation burst into laughter. "All right, now that they're done, it's our turn." Tang Wutong's voice attracted everyone's attention. They were confused about what she meant. Jijuiken's eyes lit up as he leapt forward. "Yes, let's do it." Yuhao laughed angrily before saying, "Hey, I'm not letting you fight my wife. Besides, I don't think you can withstand her blows for even a minute with the current state you're in. My wife is no pushover." As he clarified, he stepped onto the sparring ground with Tang Wutong. Bei looked at him and asked, "Little junior brother, what are you trying to do?" Yuhao sighed and replied, "Wutong was very inspired by what she saw, and mentioned to me how females should not be discriminated against. Hence, she challenged me to a duel." Cough. Cough. Even though a mocking look formed on Bei's face, he did not dare to say anything. From the look in his eyes, he seemed to be saying, "Good luck, buddy." Shu Sanchi did not seem to fear anything as he egged Yuhao on. "Little junior brother, go for it. You must fight for all the men in the world." Zhang Nanan rolled her eyes and said, "It seems like you're quite a chauvinist, eh? Come, fight with me." Shu Sanchi shook his head fervently before saying, "No way, forget about it." Use your sleeping technique only after we return to our room. I promise I will definitely not resist. Jiang Nan launched herself into the air as she kicked Shiashi. However, she was already blushing. Tang Wutong moved to the side of the sparring ground on her own. Yuhao was also in no mood to care about what the others were talking about, because he had been cultivating with Tang Wutong every day. He had a rough understanding of her ability. However, he had never faced her when she was in full fighting mode. Before, when he dueled with Wang Qia, it was already very difficult for him to defeat her. Currently, Tang Wutong's current ability seems to be a combination of Wang Qia's and Wang Dong's abilities. She was also already a titled Douluo. When it came to individual abilities, she was probably the strongest in the whole Tang Sect. Even though Yuhao was boosted by his multiple spirits, he could not be complacent when going up against her. After seeing how he had been excluded from this upcoming affair, Ji Jueqin retreated to the side unwillingly. However, he was still very excited to watch a battle between two powerful cultivators. Watching their battle was still very useful for his cultivation. After Ji Jueqin retreated, Yuhao took up his place as he allowed his energy to calm down. As he watched Tang Wutong, who was walking further and further away, he started to focus on his target. Bei, Shu Sanqi, Hiketu, and the others stopped fooling around. Xiao had quietly returned as she took up a place beside Hiketu. To be honest, everyone knew well enough that the two strongest cultivators in Tang Sect were none other than Yuhao and Tang Wutong. However, they were not certain exactly how strong these two were. When Yuhao teamed up with Tang Wutong to pin down the two evil soul masters, they had fully demonstrated the power of their martial soul fusion skills. However, that was still fundamentally different from facing off against one another. One-on-one battles were the true demonstration of an individual's abilities. It would show everyone how strong they had become, and that was something that everyone from Tang Sect wanted to know. Nan Qiu, who was standing to one side, moved over to talk to Tang Wutong. She waved her fist and cheered. Wutong, go for it. Beat him. Beat him until he loses all his teeth. Yuhao was at a loss for words. Qiu, do you really hate me that much? Nan Qiu replied, this is no longer an issue of hatred. It's about the battle between the sexes. Ladies, am I right? Her words received support from her fellow ladies. Shu Sanqi then cheered loudly. Yuhao, you can do it. Brother Ji has already lost the first round. You must not lose again. If you lose, I am afraid every male in Tang Sect will have to walk around with our heads lowered. Yuhao sighed. That's easy for you to say. I don't think it will be an easy fight against Wutong. At this moment, Tang Wutong had already walked to a distance which would separate her from Yuhao by about 100 meters. When she turned around to face Yuhao, her beautiful eyes showed the excitement in her heart. No one knew whether she was excited to fight, or excited by the prospect of destroying Yuhao. Yuhao focused his gaze on Tang Wutong. Bei walked forward a few steps before declaring, I will be the referee for this duel. Are both of you ready? Compared to the previous duel between Ji Jueqin and Shiashi, this duel was obviously a lot more formal. As of now, the higher-ups of Tang Sect were not the only spectators. After hearing the commotion above the knoll, many of the soul engineers from the three legions had left their resting areas and surrounded the knoll to watch the upcoming duel. After hearing that they were about to witness a duel between Yuhao and Tang Wutong, all of them were visibly more excited than the duelists themselves. Most of the soul engineers in the Tang Sect Soul Engineer Legion, the Fourth Soul Engineer Legion, and the Heavy Artillery Soul Engineer Legion were young people. Even the older ones were only middle-aged. They were all people who were full of bloodlust and were raring to watch people fight. They were extremely interested to watch a battle between two top-class soul masters. Besides, quite a number of people within the legions had witnessed Yuhao demonstrate his abilities during the Sea God's fated blind date. It was also then that he got together with Tang Wutong. Even people who were not fortunate enough to see them at the blind date would have definitely heard about them. Now, they were about to watch them duel in front of their eyes. It was an opportunity not to be missed. As people quickly passed the message about the duel that was about to start, a large number of soul engineers had surrounded the sparring ground. Even though they were keeping a safe distance from the actual ground itself, their excitement was still infectious. Yuhao and Tang Wutong were not anxious about the duel at all. Both of them merely stood there as they waited patiently for the duel to officially begin. Even though the fight was about to start, both of them were perfectly fine with having the legions spectate the battle, because it was a good way to improve their morale. Everyone wanted to be assured of the strength of their commanders. A strong commander would not only lead them to victory, but would also be capable of keeping them safe. Hence, Yuhao and Tang Wutong chose to wait a little longer until everyone had found a safe viewing point before they nodded at Bei. Bei naturally understood their intentions as he smiled. Both of you really have great chemistry. Are you ready? Once again, they nodded. Bei raised his right hand before looking at both of them. Then, he lowered his hand rapidly as he announced, start. As he announced the start of the duel, Tang Wutong made the first move. Her beautiful dragon wings opened up from her back as her soul rings ascended from her feet. The sight of this made the throngs of soul engineers cheer in delight. They were not only cheering because she had 9 soul rings, she possessed a combination of soul rings which far exceeded the best-known combination. The sight of Tang Wutong's red 100,000-year soul ring made the crowd wild. Is this the true strength of the wife of our chief commander? That's unbelievable. Will chief commander be able to beat her? After witnessing the powerful soul rings Tang Wutong possessed, everyone turned their attention to Yuhao. Once again, they were stunned by what they saw. Yuhao's eyes released a gentle golden glow as a humongous golden formed behind his back. 7 soul rings gently ascended from his feet. Even though there were only 7 rings, their colors were overwhelmingly attention-grabbing. The first soul ring was milky white, with a circle of golden carvings. The second soul ring was already black. The third, fourth and fifth soul rings were also black in color, and to everyone's surprise, the sixth and seventh soul rings were red. After the appearance of his 7th soul ring, the air around Yuhao started to bend and twist, as though he were no longer real. Tang Wutong slowly raised her right hand as her body emanated an intense golden glow, which spread outwards in the shape of a butterfly. As she tapped the tip of her foot on the ground gently, she sprang forwards towards Yuhao in flight. As her wings flapped intensely behind her back, she had already flown 100 meters and was right in front of Yuhao before anyone could even see how she did it. That's way too fast. Everyone cheered in unison after witnessing her incredible speed. Tang Wutong leaned slightly to the side as her right wing went straight for Yuhao. A deafening howl could be heard as the dragon wing extended to form a gigantic blade. Yuhao's body had become illusory the moment Tang Wutong dashed over. He had activated his spiritual interference domain. While the wing cut through his figure, it was not able to hit his real body. Yuhao had silently moved towards behind Tang Wutong right before everyone's eyes. He threw out a simple punch at her back. Even though the punch seemed extraordinarily simple, Tang Wutong froze after receiving the blow, as though she had become immobile. Yuhao's punch seemed to contain a black hole that was holding her in place. Tang Wutong closed and folded the wings behind her back before releasing them again violently as she hoped to use the sharp edges of her wings to counter Yuhao's fist. However, at this instant, Yuhao's eyes flashed as he released a spiritual blast radiating from the center of his body into the area about 10 meters from him. The golden trident rune on Tang Wutong's forehead flickered and absorbed most of the force from the spiritual blast. This only delayed Wutong slightly, as her wings continued in their course and collided with Yuhao's fist. Ping! A loud metallic sound rang out. Yuhao retreated rapidly upon their collision. The others also noticed how the air around him had started to show signs of cracking and shattering. These cracks were caused by the sharpness of Tang Wutong's dragon wings. However, things were also not easy for Tang Wutong. The golden light from Yuhao's fist had followed the contours of her wings and flowed into her body. To her surprise, this golden glow caused her to lose her focus for a split second. After being forced backwards, Yuhao's 3rd soul ring lit up. A vertical beam of white light shone on Tang Wutong. Mass enfeeblement. Of course, it had been focused on a single target under Yuhao's superior control. Its power was naturally magnified as it became a lot more concentrated. Following which, his 4th soul ring lit up. A mysterious whirlpool formed above Tang Wutong's head. If one were to pay attention to the whirlpool, one would notice the little vertical glow which was flickering within it. Spiritual confusion. After releasing 2 powerful control-type soul skills simultaneously, Yuhao's soul rings suddenly changed. The original 7 rings became 8 different soul rings. Even their colors had become different. As he raised his right hand, a gigantic deep blue sword appeared. Following which, the sword went for Tang Wutong's head as it followed the 2 powerful soul skills. Snow Empress 3 ultimate techniques, unparalleled chill, Empress sword. This series of transformations was extremely rapid. Everyone found it hard to follow Yuhao's movements, as his attacks were just too quick for their eyes. His transition from controlling to attacking was seamless. He did not seem like he was going easy on Tang Wutong at all. Tang Wutong only lost her focus momentarily. When the mass enfeeblement landed on her body, she had already regained her focus. Her eyes revealed a flash as her body flipped on its own in midair. Afterwards, she raised her hands as her fourth soul ring lit up. Dragon God's possession. As the armor of dragon scales fitted itself onto Tang Wutong, her aura suddenly changed. Her powerful dragon aura blew away the mass enfeeblement. Even the dangerous spiritual confusion was blocked by the golden trident on her forehead. The shiny golden dragon spear appeared and blocked the unparalleled chill's blade. Cling. Once again, another bright sound echoed through the air. The unparalleled chill shattered in midair, while Tang Wutong also fell to the ground from the impact, her entire body covered with a layer of frost. Yuhao had been working on his ultimate ice, especially after he had absorbed the manifold mysterious ice essence previously. After the unparalleled chill shattered, it released the extremely low temperature trapped within it. The soul engineers who were watching the duel felt the sudden drop in temperature, and quickly mustered their soul power to warm their bodies. Yuhao let out a long growl as he accelerated instead of retreating. He flew towards Tang Wutong as he pulled his right hand to his waist. The image of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion appeared behind his back as a star anise mysterious ice brass formed on his shoulder. These increased the aura of his ultimate ice by orders of magnitude. Meanwhile, Tang Wutong fearlessly tapped the ground with her feet, following which, a gigantic golden dragon appeared with a loud dragon roar. Afterwards, the dragon shrank rapidly, and wrapped itself around the golden dragon spear. Tang Wutong pointed the tip of the spear at Yuhao as both of them prepared for the other's next move. Within the blink of an eye, both of them were inches apart, but suddenly, both of their figures vanished simultaneously. At that very instant, the surrounding soul masters felt the effects of a powerful suction force. The suction force seemed to penetrate their minds as most of the soul masters were forced to take a step forward to steady their bodies. They were struggling against the power of the suction force. But then, in the next instant, both Yuhao and Tang Wutong reappeared in the other's former positions. Both of them revealed a shocked expression on their faces, following which, both their expressions revealed a look of amazement. I can't believe we have so much chemistry. We're even using the same technique. It seemed like both of them had executed instant teleportation at the same time. They had both wanted to teleport to the other person's back before launching an attack. But it seemed like both of them had foiled the other's plan unintentionally. Even their tactics were exactly the same. Yuhao was lost for words after he realized this, whereas Tang Wutong burst into laughter. But even then, their emotions would not get into the way of their fight. After teleporting to where Yuhao was, Tang Wutong spun around as her golden dragon spear lashed back like a whip towards him. Yuhao moved as he barely dodged the jab from Tang Wutong's spear. The current situation was starting to show the advantage that weapon wielders had over soul masters who did not wield weapons. Because Yuhao did not have a weapon, he could only react passively to Tang Wutong's attacks. After barely dodging the attack from her spear, Yuhao placed his right palm above the tip of the golden dragon spear as he pressed it downwards. Suddenly, Tang Wutong injected her strength into the spear in an explosive manner. This sudden imbalance in energy caused Yuhao to be tossed aside as though he had just been electrocuted. In addition, his hand was bursting with light and energy. It was apparent that he had expended copious amounts of soul power to barely block off the lifesteal ability of Tang Wutong's golden dragon spear. Meanwhile, after suffering from a blow from the Snowless Glacier, the glow in the golden dragon spear became slightly fainter. However, the golden dragon light, which had wrapped itself around the spear, suddenly intensified as it forced the cold aura out of the spear. Once again, Tang Wutong's body released an unbelievable amount of golden light as her soul power intensified once more. As she flapped the wings behind her back, she chased after Yuhao like a comet. It took her no time at all to appear behind his back. In their previous collision, Yuhao was undoubtedly the loser. He was at a disadvantage because he did not have a weapon. Tang Wutong was not about to let him catch his breath. A golden dragon head appeared in front of her chest and dragon let out a low roar. A streak of golden light emerged from the dragon's mouth as it shot straight towards Yuhao. Dragon God's roar. Tang Wutong's fifth soul skill was the skill which made the evil soul master suffer a lot previously. It was going to be very difficult for Yuhao to evade this attack when it was fired at such a short distance from him. Tang Wutong's tactics could be said to be very unpredictable. Just when everyone thought that she was about to begin a close combat battle with Yuhao after chasing after him, she suddenly released a ranged skill, and this ranged attack was released precisely before Yuhao could predict her next move. Because Yuhao could use his spiritual detection to predict Tang Wutong's moves, he was supposed to be able to know what she was about to do next. However, Tang Wutong now possessed superior soul power, and her attacks were unprecedentedly unpredictable. She was undoubtedly trying to reduce the advantage of Yuhao's spiritual detection by trying to be as unpredictable as possible. After being knocked away by the previous blow, he landed in a position where he could look straight at Tang Wutong. As he saw the golden streak of light from the dragon god's roar coming towards him, his face revealed a faint smile, much to everyone's surprise. Following which, Yuhao's eyes brightened as his hands made a hugging motion in front of his chest. Then, a strange scene unfolded before their eyes. The airflow around his body suddenly became very violent and rapid. It was suddenly infused with an agitated ultimate ice aura as it formed a whirlpool around his body. He extended his left hand outwards while retracting his right hand as an icy blue whirlpool formed. Boom. A violet humming sound reverberated across the sparring ground. Once again, Yuhao was thrown backwards before he slowed himself with his feet. However, Tang Wutong was no longer able to chase after him. Her body paused in midair as her eyes revealed her shock at what had just happened. A layer of ice had formed on her dragon god's armor. Tang Wutong shook her body as though the dragon god itself was shaking its armor. The layer of ice shattered, but her speed was visibly slower than before. Yuhao also took this opportunity to catch his breath. As he looked at Tang Wutong, he slowly raised his right hand as a tornado suddenly formed around his body. This was not any normal tornado. If one were to be precise, it was an ice snow tornado. The tornado's diameter was only about 5 meters, but it was as tall as the heavens as it stood towering above everyone, with its top beyond anyone's field of view. Yuhao seemed to have disappeared within the tornado. Tang Wutong's eyes narrowed as she paused momentarily. She did not immediately attack as she let out a cold battle cry. She raised the golden dragon spear which she was wielding with her right hand as she pointed it at the tornado. At the same time, her small frame exploded with an invincible aura. Even Yuhao had never seen this aura that Tang Wutong had just released. She released the pair of wings behind her back. At this instant, she seemed to have become a circle, with her body as the center of a greater circle. A blinding purple gold glow illuminated her surroundings. The diameter of this purple gold glow was a good 10 meters. After its appearance, almost the entire spectral demiplane's aura seemed to have become agitated and more violent. If one were to pay attention to Tang Wutong's soul rings, one would notice that her 8th soul ring had just lit up. Tang Wutong's body disappeared as though she had transformed into a beautiful butterfly flying within the humongous purple gold glow. At this instant, it seemed like the spectral demiplane had a sun for the first time, a beautiful purple gold sun. Shu Sanchi's jaw dropped as he witnessed the sight before him. That's way too insane. What the hell are they trying to do? They have been executing impossibly difficult moves one after another. Ji Juigan, are you still planning to challenge Wutong? I think they might still have some cards up their sleeves. Ji Juigan had a worried look on his face. In his mind, he knew that he might have stood a chance against the previous moves that Tang Wutong had executed. But after he saw the purple gold sun before his eyes, he knew that there was an impossible gap between them. In order to bridge this gap, he first had to attain the rank of a title Douluo. But was it really that easy to move from 8 to 9 rings? Ji Juigan's martial soul was not considered a strong one. It was more than just a game of probability as to whether he could get his soul core. Yes, the soul skill that Tang Wutong had just executed was her 8th soul skill, Dragon Dance of the Radiant Sun. It was an immensely powerful offensive soul skill. As the purple gold sun slowly rose into the sky, the radiant dragon god's butterfly danced within its glow. As the sun climbed higher into the sky, the pressure it released became even greater. All the soul masters who were watching the battle started to retreat from the area. No one wanted to be injured by this powerful soul skill. Countless spectral creatures which were prowling around the other end of the spectral demiplane howled in fear as though they were being attacked by the sun's glow. All of them started to flee as far as possible. Meanwhile, the ice snow tornado that Yuhao had created stood proud and tall. As the soul masters started to retreat further from the sparring ground, its size started to grow as it became more powerful. Yuhao, watch my dragon dance of the radiant sun. Tang Wutong warned Yuhao. In the next instant, the brightness of the sun grew to its maximum, following which, a gigantic purple-gold pillar of light tore the sky apart as it raced towards Yuhao's ice snow tornado. However, before the sun's glow even reached the tornado, the ice snow tornado suddenly disintegrated. That was something no one had expected. Yuhao had vanished. He was replaced by two figures who were holding each other's hands. One was white as snow, the other was pale as ice. The ice and snow empress were holding each other's hands as they carried a smile on their pretty faces. A similarly gigantic beam of light was released from their bodies as it accelerated towards Tang Wutong's dragon dance of the radiant sun. This pillar was formed from the combination of the pure white color of snow and the pale jade color of ice. The two tones of light blended perfectly with one another as they released an invincible aura. Yes. This was the most powerful soul skill that Yuhao had acquired after fusing with the Snow Empress. It was a skill that came with his Ice Jade Empress Scorpion Martial Soul's fifth soul ring, Ice and Snow Empress Arrogance. Boom. A radiant sight unfolded before everyone's eyes. After colliding with one another, both the purple gold glow and the ice jade glow exploded into sparks which flew everywhere as the burning brightness of the sun fought the intense cold. This collision caused the entire world to be shaken as the spectral demiplane trembled, and radiant sparks lingered in the air for an extended period of time. The Soul Masters had long become dazed from watching the battle before their eyes. Even though these blows were not targeted at them, they could still feel the frightening power within those attacks. Is this the strength of a top-class cultivator? What would happen if we were the ones receiving these blows? It took a good 10 seconds before the collision of the two soul skills to start showing signs of subsiding. In the end, the fight between Tang Wutong and Yuhao came to a deadlock. Neither of them could overwhelm the other. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.